have no idea how to animate. But if I want my apps to look somewhat nice, I'm gonna have to learn. So here's how I made this pretty simple animation for one of my apps in roughly 2 days. So the reason I'm making this is pretty simple. I want my app to feel alive and responsive, which will hopefully earn some more user trust and keep people using it. I want to signal this immediately, so I'm going to do this for the onboarding page. Basically anything to convert as many of the downloads to actual active users as possible. I know in the past I've actually deleted apps off the gate because, the first impression you get of the app, you realize it's actually buttons. So I don't want that to happen to mine. So step 1, decide what animation I want. Now, usually I would have probably sat for hours teetering back and forth between concepts and just going on a rabbit hole. But I need to balance out my perfectionism with speed. So I pretty much immediately decided that I wanted a fade draw in animation. Step 2. Ask Claude what to do. Claude obviously being the superior AI. First of all, it said to make sure that the image was an SVG, which it wasn't because I did generate it quickly as a placeholder using ChatGPT. So I had to go into Figma and trace over the paths there. Figma is also another thing I'm in the process of learning. Then it said to use Rive because I asked what would the Duolingo animators use, and it said Rive or Lottie. Step 3, make it. I followed Claude's step-by-step instructions and a couple of the mini tutorials that I found on YouTube. Basically what I did was activate trim paths and then keyframe every different path to have a different starting point, but it all roughly has the same ending point. And I tried to do this rotational thing, but it didn't really work, as you can see. The lesson I did learn here actually was to draw each path more individually because it gives you more control animating it later. A lot of my paths were kind of grouped together, which made them come in at different speeds and made it janky. Anyway, lucky Rive didn't even let me export it without paying for the subscription, so I ended up just going to bed, to be honest. But next morning I got up and I tried Lottie, which was Claude's other recommendation, and that was significantly easier. I should have just done that from the get-go. In 20 minutes, I used their trim paths feature, which seemed to make it much cleaner, out of the box. And then after that, I animated a really basic breathing idle animation. Step 4, actually chuck it in the app, get the Lottie JSON file and throw it in, and I'd get Claude to handle it, honestly. Then change it so that all the elements on that initial page fade in time with the animation. And this was the final product. Anyway, I'm nearly ready to actually test this app, so if you do want to follow along for that process, feel free. I will explain what I'm doing in future videos, but yeah.